Hey, it's Caressa.
Hey, it's Maddie.
You're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to Dreadfully Twisted.
We are back, guys.
We're back again.
Oh my god, wait, I need to show you that. I forgot that I told you.
Oh,
about
the
this.
orb video.
So I caught more orbs on my one camera inside my house because I have a camera that is like on the dogs whenever we're not at home. So it's like in the kitchen. And it was Wednesday night because it was whenever I got back from the NF concert. And I was like, okay, and I was like laying in bed after my shower and everything, and then I was like, I'm gonna look at the just to see, and it records things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at it, and it's like this. It's like 2 minutes, but you can watch it because it starts. Oh wow.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Maisie just wanted to totally destroy the house, for the podcast.
She wanted her presence known.
Yeah, she did.
But here it is. So you'll see something like come up this way. Because like Ratchet right there.
Oh.
And then you see Ratchet look over because he looks like he sees it. And like some other crazy stuff happens. It's like 2 minutes long, so I'm sorry. It was originally 4 minutes long, so I like cut it down.
That floated like the other one did.
Yeah, it happens again throughout this video, but like other small ones, I don't know if they could be bugs or not because like that it could be a bug,
It
but
could be like dust, like also getting.
But that first one definitely was not.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't.
Yeah. And I'm like, why all of a sudden am I getting these things in my... Oh, that was me going back up the stairs.
Seen it go that.
Yeah. Because I cut it down because I came down the stairs to grab something and then I went back upstairs. There's like a couple floaties there, like... But how like some of them move, they're too fast to be dust.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're too fast to be bugs too.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're like zooming across the screen.
Yeah. It's like freaky. And I'm like, why all of a sudden am I getting these like stuff in my house now? And then like I was like freaked out, so I didn't go to bed that night till like 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep because I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But that one happened again, like closer to the end, I think. It comes from like this side, I think. There's like a period of like nothing happening for a minute. And then like afterwards, Snickers started acting weird. Right there. It does it again.
Mm-hmm. Like curves.
Yeah. It like gets bigger and then smaller. And I'm like, I don't know like what this is now because we've never really had activity in our house until that rose ribbon video.
Mm-hmm.
And then now like all of a sudden like this camera has been on for like over a year and like just in the house. It was in the living room before. And then now, see, it just happened again right there.
Crazy.
And then again right there and right there. Just over. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
I don't know if it could be because, like... Oh, here's another one. It does it again. Then Snickers looks over. I don't know if you saw it, if it was already over. Right there.
Yeah, I see it.
And then, like, she was acting weird. Wait, no, that's... Here. Crystal said it looked like somebody was petting her at the beginning.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez. Here. It's this one. It looks like somebody was, like, maybe petting her because she was, like, up on the cage. Like, in the beginning. Like, she was, like, up on the cage. And she's never done that before.
Wow. That's so
Whenever Crystal said that, I was like, don't say that, please.
Didn't you say you thought that you had a little boy in your house?
So, yes, I think that we do have because in our pictures of our house on Zillow, it shows, which I did screenshot that not too long ago because my mom was asking me about it because I saw her. I think I deleted it though, to be honest, because I already had it on my phone. But we have this picture from our Zillow listing. In the picture, it shows like the house, and the one picture before it, there's nothing there by that tree stump. Then in the next picture, there's like a little boy in like 1920 clothing, and he looks gray.
He's
so
like
he doesn't.
transparent too.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
So here's the first picture. There's that one, and then by the tree stump,
that is so weird.
it doesn't look like a boy from today.
No.
And if it was, it would be more clear than that.
Yeah.
And then in the next picture, it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that, but then like my boyfriend's mom, she also is like very sensitive to things. And the first time she walked into her house, she was like, "Your house is haunted." I was like,
yeah.
And Jeremy just like looked at her and laughed. And then, she was like, "Yeah," she was like, "You have an old lady in your house." And I was just like, "Okay, well, I'm freaked out now."
Maybe it's one of them petting.
Maybe, I don't know. It's just like weird that it's never happened before, and then all of a
Honestly,
sudden it just started happening.
Yeah, they're probably
Getting
not malicious spirits because they haven't like done anything to cause like problems. Or,
yeah, no, because Jeremy's mom even said like, "Oh, she just wants to like watch over you guys. She's like not gonna harm you or anything." And I'm like, "Okay, how do you know this? Because like this is freaky." And I'm like, I never felt anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's because like maybe they're just now like getting known because like I've been getting more into like paranormal stuff, and maybe like they're like, "Okay, she's okay with it, so let's just show ourselves now." And I'm like, "Ooh, let's not do that."
Yeah, let's not.
I don't want to see it. So, in honor of all the scary things that have been happening in my house, we're gonna do a spooky story episode today. Because I don't think we'll be able to hear them. If you do hear the cats running around, sorry. They're too cute to be mad at.
Yeah. They're running around like they got the zoomies right now of all time, so
it's so cute. They're just playing with each other.
Oh, not the Chewy box.
They're like, "It's ours, it's ours."
Oh my god.
Oh,
she literally flopped right in the water.
That was funny.
Look, she was like, "What did you do to my water?"
She's like, "You like just ruined it.
Like,
I can't drink it now.
Just put your nasty feet in my water." Sisters.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna do a spooky stories episode today because in honor of all the paranormal things that have been happening in my house, why not? And also because our next episode will be a year. The 24th will be a year for the podcast, so we want to do a couple different things. This, like the last few episodes, like last episode, this episode, and maybe next episode, to also just break up like the very heavy cases that we've been doing. Like I felt like we just need to take a quick break from those. We'll get back into those because my next one is going to be really heavy. So
yeah,
that's why I was also like, let's read stories because I'm going to need this to get my mindset back into getting into something really heavy. So, do you want to talk about anything before we start?
Nope.
Okay.
We're ready.
So, the first story is called House Haunts 2. I'm just going to read the whole thing. It's kind of long, but it will be okay. This was something typed up yesterday, Sunday, but I was way too tired to submit it, so I went to bed. While going to bed, something else odd occurred, which I'll tack on to the end. Well, now, didn't expect to be updating this quite so soon, but here we are. It would appear this new place be certifiably haunted. To recap, I've just moved into a rental in my old hometown. It's an old house probably built in the 1930s or 40s. Cool place if you're into old houses, which I certainly am. A couple of weeks ago, it rained and the roof leaked, so that sucks. Long story short, tin roof. Section of which is beyond the joke in need of replacement. 4 patch jobs later, and it still leaks. Section needs replacing. It's now wet season, therefore can't be replaced while wet, so that really sucks. One night last week, it rained particularly hard, and I was up late emptying buckets. I was standing in the kitchen, practically falling asleep on my... I don't know what happened to my voice right there. I'm sorry. It was just like dying. Okay, let's restart that last sentence. Where was I? I was standing in my kitchen, practically falling asleep on my feet, waiting for the rain to subside so I could go to bed. There's a hallway off the kitchen. The hall light was off, so it was dark in there. I thought I saw a person in the darkness, short and podgy, looking at me from the hall entrance. However, I must stress I was really tired and half asleep, so there's that. You still saw him. I believe you still saw him. A couple of days ago, during the day, I found a lounge room light on. Definitely wasn't by me. There are 3 light sources in the lounge room. One nice warm style light over the tele, one ugly fluoro light over the middle of the room, which I do not use because fluoro is gross. Then there are 2 nice warm lights and over an old bar at the end of the room. The ugly fluoro light was on. My piano is directly under the fluoro light. I wonder if someone might have been checking it out, or maybe they were showing me there's another light because I haven't been using the fluoro at all. Then today, the reason I decided to write all this up happened. I previously wrote about the cupboard door noises. That stopped except for a few days ago when I heard a couple of slams. I was in the lounge room watching a hose get hoisted onto the roof. Guy testing for leaks. Heard a cupboard slam, then another slam. Sounded like the kitchen. Can't say I was bothered to check it out. Too tired to care, really over leaks. When I first moved in, about 3 weeks ago, I took a picture off the wall. It was in the room that leaks. The picture is geometric shapes. That kind of thing you pick up at IKEA. It was only one picture in the house that was left by owners who were the previous occupants. I took the picture off the wall and behind it there were 5 or so squashed ants. Gross. Got a wet rag and cleaned that crap up anyway. Why leave squashed ants on your wall? Anyway, after cleaning where the picture was, I put one of my ethical taxidermy pieces in its place. I just realized the irony in my actions there. Hardy har. I put the owner's picture underneath the kitchen table to put somewhere safe later. Still unpacking, and there were boxes under said table, so didn't notice the picture went bye-byes, but can attest that it hasn't been under the table for at least a couple days. I know this because I kept staring at the box of books thinking, gotta do something about them. I had put the picture on top of that box. Last night, I put a witch pendant on the kitchen cupboard doors. Have a thing about witches in kitchens, like no kitchen is complete without something witchy. The pendant is a witch on a broom flying around of a crescent moon. As I was going to bed, I decided to look in the cupboard where I put the witch pendant. There are some small tubs of paint, all the same colors as the house. The rooms are all different colors. This morning I went back to the cupboard to look at the paint pots again. It's an overhead cupboard and I'm short. I could feel something else on the floor of this cupboard. It was the picture I didn't notice was missing. All I got to say about that is I didn't put it there. Maybe I heard it go in when I was watching the hose the other day. Later this afternoon, I was emptying a wee bird bath for the night. Possums suck, and if you leave water around to encourage them, then you end up with a knackered roof. A neighbor's German Shepherd came up to say hello. This neighbor lives in the house behind. It's a subdivide. Said neighbor restores classic cars, and I could hear him tuning a motor. His dog, a lady dog, going by how she peed on the lawn, followed me in the backyard. Lovely dog. It was nice to have her around. There was much loud brooming coming from the guy behind, sound like a V8. I couldn't call out that I had his dog, so I waited with the dog in the yard until the broom stopped. His dog did the usual smell everything and trot everywhere doggy thing. But she kept looking up at the kitchen window. There's a balcony outside the kitchen window. The dog kept going up there and putting her paws up around the window. Wondered if she was seeing something I couldn't. Wouldn't have wondered if anything was there otherwise. Didn't feel watched or anything. It's early Monday evening now. As I typed the above out last night, I could hear a door creak. The doors in this place are pretty heavy and don't move about easily. As I was going to bed, I found a bathroom light on. I could have left it on by mistake as I was very tired, but I was back and forth passing the bathroom enough. Surely I would have noticed. Think someone likes playing with the lights. Thanks for reading. Yeah, that would be kind of creepy.
Yeah, it would.
Because, I don't know. It does sound like somebody's just trying to mess with you.
Yeah. Trying to get a reaction out of him.
Yeah, and the fact that the dog saw something was definitely telling.
Yeah, animals can sense that kind of stuff way more than us.
And that makes me think, my dogs are always barking at something in the house when there's nothing there. So maybe they do see something.
Remember when, he was barking at the door. I remember that. But, it looked like it was so weird.
Yeah.
He was barking at something.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe they see stuff, and like in that video, Ratchet saw something whenever I don't know. And just a little PSA, I know people are gonna get weirded out that I name my cat Ratchet. It's not Ratchet as in the term of something being whatever. It's because of the video game Ratchet and Clank. That's why we named him, because of that video game, and that in that video game, the character is a Lombax that's named Ratchet after a ratchet wrench. So that's why we named my cat Ratchet, not because he's Ratchet, okay? Just a PSA, because everybody judges me for it, and I don't want yeah, he's the cutest thing ever, but I don't want somebody to judge me over naming my cat Ratchet. Yeah. So that's the story. Just real quick before you get mad.
Just a little PSA for anyone who wanted to know.
Because like I'll say that and they're like, they look at me and they're like, Ratchet, and then they start laughing. I'm like, no, there's like a cute story behind it. Like
I mean, whenever you first told me that, I immediately knew the video game.
Yeah, and I'm like, good. Some people know that, but like people at work, they'll like give me like the weird look, and I'm like, it's a video game. Let me explain it to you, and then I pull up the picture, and then I show them, and they're like, oh, okay. And then it's also because like I have Ratchet tattooed on me, so if people look at my wrist, they'll be like, what? There's just a little like story there.
Yeah.
Just so people don't like judge me because I don't want to be judged. All my animals have weird names, so just
no judgments here. I'm all about weird animal names.
I mean, my puppy's name is Tyr, Tyr, so that's like, and people judge me for that, but
Charlie Brown the cat.
Yeah.
So I mean,
well, Tyr is a Norse god, so that's why.
It's better than naming your cat or dog Will or something like a
or
human
like,
Cameron.
Be like, hey, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah. No, I don't want to pet Cameron.
I want a pet that has a weird name.
Actually, yes, I would pet Cameron, but still.
Yeah, I would pet all the animals, but like I just like to have like unique names for my animals. I don't want them to be like the basic
exactly.
like same name that somebody else could have.
Because they're special.
Yeah.
They need a special name.
Yeah. Okay, now that we just went on a tangent about
animals. Time to rehinge. Okay. On 2 separate occasions, I have recently seen things. The first thing I saw was on the street around the corner from my street. I was driving and stopped at the stop sign. I looked to the left. Right there on the road, but to the side, was a shadow-like figure. I looked. Sorry, talking is hard. It looked like a stick figure with a hooded t-shirt. A hooded t-shirt on. Yeah, duck. Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's okay.
It was weird. It was kind of like a scarecrow, but it was black. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My mind thought a kid at the bus stop because it was almost 8 a.m. I went through the intersection but stopped and looked back at it to try to make out what I was seeing. I was still and not moving. Its arms were thin and black as its shirt. And as black as its shirt. It didn't have hands, no face, just a head that was black with a hood shape. I started to drive off, but I stopped again and tried to make out the legs, which looked like black sticks or somewhat holographic or something.
Ooh.
That was about a month ago. Then, just a couple of days ago, I went to the store at dusk, and it had just gotten dark when I had left the store. There's a stoplight in the middle of town. The stoplight, the fire truck went east across the next block. I turn left, which is west. I go 2 blocks and turn right. I'm going back north, and at the first stop sign across the road, right there, maybe about 10 feet from the corner, on the side of the road, but in the road, were 2 people dressed in black coats that touched the ground. For some reason, my car lights weren't doing me any justice. It was like my lights were only shining on the bottom half of them. I tried to drive slow around them to get a good look, but they had pale faces that looked shaped like the I know what you did last summer mask, but it was different and scary. And I sped around them. I kept thinking maybe kids or teenagers pranking or something, but it's not Halloween. They weren't walking, just standing there, looking around, like they didn't know where they were or waiting. The reason I mentioned the fire truck is because fire station is just a block from where they were. I'd like to know what these things were and why I'm seeing them. Also, I forgot to say the title of this one, and it's called Black Hooded Shadow Figure and 2 Black Cloaked People.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Pass.
We'll pass on that. Shadow people and shadow figures scare me so bad. I don't. Ugh.
So little story. Back whenever I was friends with this guy I went to school with and this girl who went to a school around us. Mm-hmm. So, they were together, and I was like third wheel for a long time. Like we were like the trio basically, and we did like everything together for a while before we kind of like all went separate ways. But,
Yeah.
yeah, we were hanging out, and we went past Quaker Cemetery.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard about that one.
Yeah, my dad took me there when I was like 12.
Yeah, it's like really haunted, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was nighttime. It was like late. I can't remember what time it was, but we drove past, and all I remember is my friend. He was like, I swear to God, he was like freaking out, and I'm like, what are you freaking out about? And he's like, he was the one driving.
Yeah.
He was like, I swear to God, I just seen a shadow figure standing there,
Ooh.
literally right in front of the cemetery, and I'm like, no, you didn't. And like literally, and I was just waiting for him to say he was kidding, because like I didn't believe him. Like I'm just like waiting for him to say no. I'm like, no, you didn't. He didn't ever say he was kidding. He was literally freaking out the whole night. It was like, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I believe you. That's literally terrifying.
That's scary. Yeah, my dad took me there when I was like 12. He took me and my sister there, and I don't remember seeing anything, but yeah, it is very haunted there. And I think now, like, you can't go in.
Yeah, it's blocked off, I think.
I'm like, dang.
I know.
Like,
we could have went with the ghost hunter.
Or with like our camera or something for our Patreon. That would have been fun.
I know.
And we could still try.
Yeah.
We might just get arrested, but it's fine. Okay. So this next one. It says somebody's name in it, but I'm not gonna say the name, and I'm not gonna say I'm just gonna start with the thing after that. I'm not gonna say their name. But it's called I Think I Saw My Father's Doppelganger.
Oh God.
I'm 15, but was 14 when this happened in February of 2023. I know I wasn't hallucinating or having delusions. I was sitting on the couch. It was around 10 or 11 p.m. All my family members have gone to sleep, and I'm always the last one to fall asleep in the house. I remember I was watching a true crime YouTube video, as I am into true crime. I was also texting my friends and my boyfriend at the time, and then I saw my father walk down the hall. I was thinking to myself, why is my father up? He falls asleep early as he wakes up for work at 4 a.m. I was calling my father's name and he wasn't answering at all, and I thought this was weird. My father always answers me. I then saw him walk into the kitchen. That I then got up and asked him why he was up, and when I walked into the kitchen, he was gone. I was like, what the actual... I'm not going to say that, but you can just guess what it says. I don't feel comfortable swearing on this, like, with that word, but I'll say other stuff, just because, like, I know my mom listens, and I don't swear in front of her, so, like, I just don't want to. But it's with the actual F. I don't remember my father walking out of the kitchen at all. I was even questioning my sanity, and then I walked down the hall to see if it was my father. It was actually awake, but he was in a deep sleep. And things got even weirder. I was like, nope, I am not sleeping tonight. I then told one of my friends about the situation that just happened. She tried to say it was a skinwalker, but I said, wouldn't they eat me? I stayed up until my father woke up for work. I told him the story and he believed, but my siblings and my mother didn't, since they don't believe in ghosts. However, I don't see that being a thing I thought was my father ever again. That was a mimic that you saw.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you're not supposed to acknowledge them.
Yeah. Because
if you do, then like it'll just keep happening. But yeah, that's definitely scary.
No.
That's what we covered on the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought that was very interesting. It's still like paranormal-y. But yeah, that was definitely a mimic that you saw. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Just be careful.
Mimics are terrifying.
They are. My mom, she listened to the last episode, and she's like, I never heard of a mimic before. I'm gonna get into them, and I was like, you want to get scared?
Yeah. You won't be able to sleep, but it's definitely interesting.
And then she asked me, she's like, is there anything else that I can get into? Because she's like really into like the glitch of the Matrix stuff and like the Mandela effect and stuff. And I was like, well, if I hear anything, I'll let you know. So if you guys have any like ideas of that stuff that you want us to cover, let us know.
Yes. Please let us know.
Aww. She just did the cutest coo ever.
Aww. She makes so many noises.
Her and Charlie Brown are playing. They were just swatting at each other. Does he get along okay with them? Mm-hmm. Okay. They're just like pawing at each other.
They fight like brothers.
Well, yeah.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. One is called The Lady on the Abandoned Road. Wow, this is the second road story I'm telling.
I guess you just like the road stories.
Yeah. So this incident took place in Mumbai back in 2016 when I was 16 years old. I was preparing for board exams and used to take classes for late. Once I got very late and left the class around 10:30 p.m. So there were two routes that led to my home. One was a long route that takes around 45 minutes to reach the home, and another one was a shortcut, but deserted after evening. As I was already late and hungry, I decided to take the shortcut. Biggest mistake in quotations.
Yeah.
On that route, I had to cross a railway track and then walk around 2 kilometers to reach my home, while also crossing a deserted hospital on the way. Weather was pleasant that day, and I was in a good mood when I plugged my earphones in and started walking. Everything was normal until I reached the hospital. When I reached there, suddenly the wind was cold and I had goosebumps. It was strange because in Mumbai we always have humidity. However, I kept walking when I felt like someone is walking behind me. I turned around, but no one was there. I continued to walk when I saw in the distance there was a woman in a sari, which is an Indian tradition cloth for women. It seemed like my neighbor aunt. This is so cute.
Yeah.
I was relieved thinking that now I don't have to walk alone on that creepy road. I shouted, calling her name, but there was no response. So I started to walk faster towards her, but however, couldn't get closer to her. So I started to literally run towards her, still calling for her, and she was still walking in a normal speed, but somehow the distance between us kept unchanged. That's so weird.
Oh.
That's like a whole glitch in the Matrix right there.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand what was happening, so I stopped and tried to figure out what the actual thing was I was chasing. I kept looking at her, and in a fraction of seconds, she disappeared into thin air. Mind you, that the road was straight, and there was no place to hide. No way she could run away or hide somewhere. That was enough. I lost control over myself and started running like a dog, and only stopped at my home. I was so scared that I got a fever that lasted for a week. Next day, I told everything to my family, but they didn't believe and shrugged it off, saying I should take some rest from studies and that I am imagining things. But weird things started to happen. I used to feel like someone was caressing my hair when I am sleeping. Oh my gosh.
No.
I was afraid to be in the dark, and I remember seeing a silhouette in my room whenever I was alone. This time, I didn't tell these things to my family. But one day, my cousin, who I shared a room with, came running out of the room screaming. We were all in the hall watching TV. When she asked what happened, she said that after taking a shower, when she entered the room, she saw me sitting near the window watching outside. I usually sit there after getting done with my studies. She opened the cupboard and was searching for something when she tried to ask me whether I saw what she was searching for. Getting no reply from me, she looked towards the direction of the window and found no one there. I was still in the hall with everyone watching the television. After listening to her, I expressed that what I was dealing with for a week. Now the family believed that something was indeed fishy and took me to the holy place. There we met with a person who solved these kind of cases. He blew some verses of the... I'm sorry, I don't even know how to pronounce that word.
What is it? Pourin?
Sorry if we pronounced that wrong. On me, and told my elders to never let me be alone in that house, and strictly told me not to go by that road ever again. He didn't tell me the reason, as he felt I was too young to know that. However, things didn't happen like that again, and we left that home after 3 to 4 months. So that's it.
Wow.
I would be like, tell me!
Yeah. Like, I would like to know, please. That's scary.
That is.
Okay, so this next one, I like kind of like skimmed over it and it looks pretty scary. So I'll read it. It's called Knocking at My Window.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's terrifying.
I still get the creeps when telling this story. About 9 months ago, at the end of July, my family and I went on vacation in a spot in Virginia. We've been going to the same spot for 5 years straight. It was in the middle of the night that I woke up to this light tapping on my window across from the bed me and my brother were sharing. The room was decently big, with the bed pushed against the wall in the center of the room and two smaller closets to the left on my side, on either end of the wall. A window was next to the closet in the far left corner of the room from the bed, with a TV beside it. Before I went to bed that night, I had turned on a light rain sounds on the TV, and so it was playing queasily in the background while I sat up in bed, tired and weary. The knocking turned into loud thumps that made my heart race and my palms sweaty. By the sound of it, I could have sworn someone or something was standing outside the window, pounding on the window, which wasn't unreasonable considering the room was on the first floor, near the entrance of the building. Looking at the alarm clock on my bedside nightstand, I realized it was very unreasonable. It was 3:15, which of course it was. Why wouldn't I wake up at the witching hour with tapping on my window and this utter dread filling my stomach? Same. I don't understand how I missed it because she was standing right next to it. Beside the window, a little in front of it, was a girl with long, dripping wet, black hair cascading down her face and body, basically hiding all of her from how long it was.
Oh, God, it's The Grudge.
I got chills reading that. She was wearing this worn out white dress that ended on the floor. I couldn't see any limbs at all. She reminded me of that little girl from The Ring, just less TV-like and real.
God.
Ooh. For a good 10 seconds, I kind of just stared at her, waiting and watching, praying that this was some sick nightmare that I was about to wake up from. Panic hadn't set in yet either. When I realized she wasn't moving or doing anything, I slid under the covers, biting back the tears of fear. I was 14 then, not young but not old either, so this fear was pretty reasonable. After taking a few deep breaths, encouraging myself to look again, she was gone. She just vanished. The tapping on the window hadn't ceased. If anything, it got a bit louder. It also started raining after a few minutes of me just sitting there, staring at the spot where the girl once stood. I woke my bear of a brother up, almost crying from how scared I was. I told him what I saw, shaking as I did so. He kind of just nodded, pretty much still asleep. Now, he isn't much younger than me, being 12 at the time, but he was pretty useless as I complained about the tapping on the window. He told me to wake Mom and whine to her. I told him I wouldn't, so annoyed, he begged me just to turn the TV up and go back to sleep. I did, and to this day, the memory of the girl standing in that window is burned into my mind, and to think I would be in that room again this year reminds me of the fear I had that night. Oh my.
Oh, my.
I'd be scared.
Yeah, me
get
too.
curtains for that window.
Yes, please. Or move out of the whole house. One of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this one literally sounds terrifying just by the title.
Okay.
Gaping black holes for eyes.
Oh.
Okay.
What? I missed it.
I meant to say first, but I said it in like a Scottish accent. It sounded like it's like my first.
My first?
Me first. BB reindeer. Oh God, have you seen that TV show? It's on
No.
Netflix. It's literally it's insane.
Okay.
It's a true story. The guy who acts in it, his story, he actually directed the whole.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's about this girl who like stalked him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Because he offered her a free drink. It all started from that. It was like crazy. You should watch it.
People are crazy.
You should definitely watch it.
What is it called?
Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer.
No.
Okay.
I'll send it to you later. So.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay. My first paranormal experience happened when I was around 7 years old. I was in my mom's bedroom snooping through her things. I looked up into the mirror of her vanity, and standing there in the corner, facing and watching me, was a young girl.
Ugh. No.
She wore a white dress that was torn. The thing that truly frightened me, that I have never been able to shake off, was its eyes, or lack of, I should say.
Oh, is this? Oh my God, I think I know what this is about.
This entity had giant gaping black holes for eyes.
Oh no, it's the black-eyed children. These things freak me out.
God. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It was like looking into two black holes. It's a vivid detail I would never forget. There were absolutely no eye whites, and the black holes were perfectly circular. Next, I was around 9 years old when my family went to Sarajevo? Bosnia?
We're trying.
Yeah, we're trying.
If we pronounce anything wrong, please let us know and we will fix it. We apologize.
Yeah.
Talking is hard, and pronouncing things is hard. But we apologize if we do say it wrong.
But anyways, that was their home country, so their family went there for 2 months during summer break. Our first night there, our neighbors gathered around the house outside to welcome us. I was standing with my older sister and some neighborhood teenagers. I overheard them talking about how our house is haunted. I wandered off away from the crowd to the front of the house. I looked into the window that directly gazed into the living room and the kitchen. Standing in our kitchen was a little ghost boy with short black hair that was opening and closing our kitchen drawers. I watched, amazed, as it picked up a spoon and inspected it closely. It turned the spoon around in the air, twisting and examining it.
What? And you're just calmly sitting there watching? I'd be freaking out.
As if it could sense that I was watching, it snapped its head towards the window and stared at me. Oh my god. First of all, I would literally cry. Just imagine, like, his head just turns.
I would just run out of the house.
Fast,
I'll just run out and never return.
I know. That's so scary. That's like a horror movie. It didn't move. Like the ghost girl, it had gaping black holes for eyes. And we just stared at each other for a solid few seconds, with my eyes tracking back to the spoon that it was still holding, and I ran off. I remember being so scared to sleep at night after that in that house. I told everyone about it, and my grandpa taught me a Muslim prayer that I still use to this day whenever I feel like there is something around me. Lastly, I saw the third entity when I was around 12 years old. My family and I drove down to Jacksonville, Florida to visit my aunt. I went to the bathroom, washed my hands, and when I looked in the mirror, I saw a little ghost boy in the corner of the bathroom. It was daytime when I saw it.
What?
That's even creepier.
Daytime?
Yeah. It didn't seem to have an emotion, and it was expressionless, besides just emptiness and despair. Its eyes, like the other encounters, had giant gaping black holes. Didn't seem like the other ghost boy I had seen in Bosnia. He seemed younger and shorter. I've lived in the same house my entire life, and I've had one additional experience with the ghost boy, and countless others with the ghost girl. I dreamed about her when I was a teenager. In the dream, I was a child again, and we were playing, having a good time. She told me, "I'm not as bad as I seem." Aww.
Aww.
That's all I remember. That's so sad.
Yeah.
How can you even be scared of her after that? I'd be like, yeah, I'm like, we'll be friends. I'll play with you.
Right.
You're a little bit creepy looking, but I'll still play with you. In recent years, the ghost girl woke me up with an electrifying shock on my wrist. I felt something slide off my bed, and I swear I saw her outline laughing at me.
Oh?
I'm sharing this because I am wondering if anyone can identify what these entities are and why and what they want to do with me. Also, why is the significance of the black eyes? What is the significance of the black eyes? Why has it not been documented before in media? I've tried to do research, but it seems like nothing that comes up is close to what I've experienced. Oh, they're not black-eyed children. I won't share any more because this post is getting long. Let me know what you're thinking.
I was thinking it was black-eyed children, but if it's not, then I don't know.
Probably have different eyes than
like
bigger or something.
I don't know, because black-eyed children, their eyes are just black, and they freak me out. That is like one. Okay, so I listened to another podcast, and they did an episode on black-eyed children, and that was the one episode that I could not listen to.
Really?
It freaked me out too bad. I couldn't. Like, I went like maybe 10 minutes into the episode, and that was like 2 years ago that I started this podcast,
Yeah.
and I couldn't listen to it. It was the one episode that I could not
Wow.
listen to. Maybe I could listen to it now, but at the time, like I was too freaked out.
Yeah.
'Cause it just freaks me out. I don't know why.
That's so crazy. Or
They're
why?
just they're creepy and I don't know. But my next one's kind of similar. It's called "Seeing Red Eyes at Night Need Help." Okay, so bit of a background first. The first time this happened, it was a number of years ago, and I was probably at least 13 or 14 years old the first time it happened. The area I live in is kind of, I can't say this word, rural. I have issues saying that word. There's just some words that I can't say. I can't say rural, although I just said it twice. And it probably sounds better than what I think it sounds. But I live across from an orchard with one house on the small hill above us right next door, and one slightly below us on the other side of our house with a massive wooded area directly behind our house. The house above us next door is kind of separated by a line of trees. We can see each house just there, okay, wait. We can still see each house, just there's obviously trees. And the road is like 20 to 25 feet, maybe 30 feet away from the front of each house. It was night, so pitch black outside. We didn't have any street lights where we live because, again, kind of a rural area. We have a grape arbor next to the middle. What? That's not what that said. let me let me retry that. Okay. We have a grape arbor near the middle of our property. I can literally stand on our deck and look to the house above us, and to the top of the grape arbor is just below ground level, with a section of land their house sits on. Behind the arbor is a bit of lawn and some garden and the tree line. There is a thick tree between where the grape arbor is and our neighbor's mailbox with red reflective discs on it. Blocked by the tree, but you can't even see their mailbox, so I know what I saw was not those reflective discs. It was dark, like pitch black dark. I had just opened up our kitchen door to let our dog outside to use the bathroom, and the motion light goes on because of the door, and my dog would not step outside. All he do was peer outside towards our neighbor's mailbox and stare. I thought, okay, it's Maine, so does he see a raccoon or a fox or maybe one of those neighbor's cats? No, I looked up above the ground grape arbor. Oh, that's not what that said either. No, I looked up and above the grape arbor, more towards the thick tree, is the block of the view of our neighbor's mailbox, where these two glowing red eyes. I thought, okay, maybe it's just an owl or something. I don't know. I tilted my head and it copied me.
Oh my god.
The eyes tilted to match my movement and blinked. Our motion light doesn't even reach 5 feet past the deck, so I had no clue what it was. I couldn't see anything past the light. My dog freaked out like full-on claws, scrambling against the tile floor, snarling and barking as he ran deeper into the house, and my reaction is obviously look down when my dog starts freaking out. I looked back up and it was standing just out of view of the lights, like maybe another 6 feet past the lights. So much closer, the eyes were level with my own, and I'm still standing in the door. The deck is a good foot off the ground, and the door has a step leaning up to the 2 feet right there. And I'm like 5 foot, maybe 5'2". The red dots or eyes were level with my head. I have no idea what it was at the time. I just slammed the door shut and locked it and went to my room, acting like I saw nothing. Fast forward some years, and literally like 3 days ago, I started to hear just like a tapping noise when it would start to get dark. I look out the window, nothing's there, tapping's gone. Another time, I could have sworn I heard my dad calling me, so I call back out asking what he wants, and I get nothing. I look out the window to the driveway, and his work truck is still gone. He's not home.
Oh my god.
The other day, I saw the same thing I did years ago when I was a kid. Red eyes, just this time near the trail that leads out back into the woods. I shut my blinds, made sure the doors were locked, lights off, and I guess I pulled a nope, didn't see that, no one's home, you just got the wrong address, goodbye sort of mentality, I guess. I'm curious as to what it is I saw, the red eyes thing. I can deal with the spooky sounds just fine. I can deal with that. I'm good with that. That doesn't bother me. But it's the eyes. The red eyes they'd be about 7 feet off the ground. That's what's freaking me out. If anyone has any idea what it might have been and I could have seen, I would greatly appreciate some input here, because now I just don't bother looking outside the windows when it's dark. I just pull the whole if you don't see it, it's not their thing. But some of the windows on this house do not have blinds or shades, and it's just the ones in the kitchen that face the woods. It freaks me out now. It freaks me out because I always feel washed at night if I'm in the kitchen now. And those windows are on the top floor. The basement door and windows are below them. It's a two-story drop out those kitchen windows. I would just really love if someone could give me any sort of input as what the heck I might have seen because I don't like it and I want it gone. I want it gone like 6 years ago, sort of gone. So just any input at all is helpful at this point. I don't know. That's freaky.
That is.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I would just do the whole nope, didn't see it mentality thing too, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just act like you didn't see anything
exactly.
and ignore it. But I know it's hard.
Can't imagine like actually being faced with that. Like, what would you even do at that point? Would you actually ignore it? Would you scream and run?
I don't know. Like, I don't know how I would react because like that's freaky, and the fact that it was matching their movements.
Yeah, that's so creepy.
It's just like, and then your
Weird.
dog saw it. Like, ooh. Scary.
If the animal sees it, it's definitely there.
Yeah. Always trust your animal's instincts.
Yeah.
Always, always, always.
Okay, this one's called Clicking Noises. We have a clicker
Ooh.
from, what's it called? Last of Us.
Oh, I've never watched that.
It's video game. They have 2 of them, and they just made a series. So good.
Yeah, I know. I know it's a video game, and I wanted to watch the TV show, but I just never did.
Yeah. I just moved to Kentucky from Illinois. I've been here a month, and until last night, I've not experienced a haunting. The place I left had a lot of action that was happening regularly. I even accidentally recorded 2 ghost voices and heard those voices myself afterwards a few times. The reason I'm writing this is because I'd had an odd experience for years. A clicking noise waking me up, much different from a ghost or poltergeist. First, I worried it was my brain making up the noise. I still don't know. I do know I'm not comfortable responding or communicating with spirits because I've had bad experiences in the past. I don't know if someone is trying to communicate that is good or bad. I'd had hauntings my entire life. Anyway, I was awakened by the clicking noises sounding metallic. It was a little different. This time, as it was moving around my room and clicking.
No.
Oh my god, that's weird.
No.
I had to prayer protection at least 3 times and center my mind on myself, on Jesus, to finally have it stop. I feel it was trying to scare me, and I know some things feed on fear. So not something I have the strength on my own to communicate with. Anyone out there that knows of this, please respond. So weird. What is moving? What is clicking around your room?
I don't know.
A spirit's probably snapping or something.
There's like, I like make like a song or something with like they're snapping, or maybe they're listening to music and they're just snapping.
Yeah.
Freaky. Okay, so was that the end of your story?
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one, I went over it. It's kind of like more lighthearted. So sorry if you hear a car driving by.
Now you probably did.
Yeah, you probably heard that truck. Okay, so we'll read 2 more. So here's mine. Was it my guardian angel? Today I'm going to share an experience I had in 2021. My family and I had COVID, and I had to be admitted to the hospital. It was really scary for me because it was my dad's 3-year death anniversary on the day of my admittance. I was really scared as I am diabetic and hypertensive. I had been running high fevers for 2 days and was unable to move, let alone eat. With the help of my children and husband, I managed to pack a bag of clothing and we called for an ambulance. Due to COVID regulations and a curfew, I had to go alone to the hospital. I remember the paramedics calming me as I cried, and I mentioned to them that I did not want to die. During the pandemic, I have seen too many loved ones taken away. I was admitted to my ward at 2 a.m. in the morning. The next morning, I opened my WhatsApp, and I almost lost my mind as my best friend had passed away. I remember crying, and the next day I live streamed her funeral. It was traumatic for me, and during this time, my fever continued even though I was on strong medication. My third night in the hospital, after speaking to my husband and children, I remember asking them to pray for me as I did not want to die. The ward I was in was a normal ward, and I was the only person there. That night, as I was about to fall asleep, I remember feeling really cold. I asked the nurse to add an extra blanket over me and was advised that she could not as my fever was really high. I was tossing and turning as I was restless and cold. As soon as I turned on my side, I saw a man next to my bed. He was around mid 30s, white doctor coat and brown formal pants. He just stood there, and he had what looked like a little pill cups on the serving table near my bed. He was smiling at me, and he kept playing and shifting the pill cups. As he was doing this, he smiled at me and told me 3 times, "You'll be fine." The moment he said this, my fever broke and I fell asleep. The next morning, when I woke feeling better, I asked the nurse about the doctor I saw last night. I told her that he was so friendly and that he told me I'd be okay. She simply smiled and told me that I was lucky because my fever was so high and that I'd been crying in my sleep and telling my dad that I loved him, but that I was not ready to leave my husband and children. I returned home after 7 days. I cried on my way home and my husband asked me why. I said to him that I was lucky as 2 other people passed away whilst I was at the hospital that week. All I saw were people covered with white sheets being wheeled away. I would like to think it's my guardian angel that was looking out for me. If any of you know or have experienced something like this, please feel free to share this with me. That's so wow.
No.
I love guardian angel stories.
I know, me too.
Yeah, like if you go, you can do by categories, by countries, by states. I just saw one that's named Toilet Terror.
I see that. I just see that. This one's called Things Happening in Numbers of 5.
Oh.
Recoupled from my fence jobs here at the lake. Sitting and having early AM coffee. Here we go. Is my first 2 published experiences of things happen in 5s, or including something that happened in 5s during unexplained experience. Here's my last 5 experiences with things happening in. Dang, he has a bunch of experiences with things happening in 5s. That's weird.
Is five like a number for you? It must be like an angel number or something. Somebody's trying to tell you something.
Yeah. Okay, this is 3 different nights of unexplained experiences, but all 3 being almost the very same.
Oh, that's freaky.
Yeah. I was outside on my sister's property in Denison, Texas, which is where I was living at the time. Besides the main house, there is also a guest house out back. I was living beside in a 30-foot camper. He has a bedroom at the very back of the main house that reaches across the whole width of the house. It had a fireplace in it also. Before my grandfather bought her house in 3 acres, one of the prior owners had built a wall down the center of the bedroom widthwise, making it into 2 long skinny rooms. It had 4 big windows with foil on them stretching across the whole width of the back of the second room of the old bedroom, which was the very back of the house. That was a long sentence.
I know, some of these are like, I think that the sentence should have stopped or something, and I'm like, wait, it's still going.
The first night, it was sometime between midnight and 2 a.m. I was leaning up against one of the very tall foiled windows with only my head looking out at the pasture behind her property. All of a sudden, I hear what sounds like 5 footsteps inside the room I'm outside of. And the footsteps started at the doorway of that long room and were coming towards the foiled window I was leaning up against outside the house. After the loud 5 footsteps starting at the doorway of that room, coming towards me, I knew with about 2 more steps it would be at the window where my head was leaning against. I moved away from the window about 15 feet after the 5th footstep. That spare room had stuff literally just thrown into it from the doorway by my sister and brother-in-law. No pathway to walk in there, literally. Each footstep had the sound of someone stepping down onto the floor, with the sound settling to the floor under pressure. All within a single footstep. It did 5 footsteps, until I moved away from the window, each of the 5 footsteps sounding as if it were recorded on an old tape recorder. Each had the same identical sounds and volume. Nothing else happened that night. The second time, I was outside, leaning with my head against a different foiled window outside the same room, the window furthest away from the room's doorway. It was several days after the last time, somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m. Same thing. Suddenly, I said that again, oh my god.
It's okay.
Starting at the doorway of that same room, 5 same exact footsteps, same exact sounds and volume as the time before, like a recording. I'm way at the other end of the room, outside, leaning with my head against the fourth foiled window. As before, oh my god, I can't even talk anymore. My brain just shut off.
Talking is hard.
Talking is hard. As before, after the 5th footstep, I now realize it's coming to the window I'm at. I know within a couple more steps it will be at the window I'm at. So I moved away from the window and nothing else happened. I think I read that already.
That's okay.
Okay. Third night, same time, place, sounds, and volume, just a different window. No matter what window I was at, it was still 5 footsteps. Same exact sounds, each footstep, each time like a recording. The 4th night, each of these experiences being 2 to 3 days apart. It was only about 9 p.m. this night, but dark. I leaned my head against one of the 4 foiled windows, this time bumping the back of my head loudly several times against the window. Nothing happened. Needless to say, I never looked for whatever the thing was, ever again. My sister sold the house not long after, and if you read my other 2 published unexplained experiences, my niece had played with the Ouija board.
Oh, no.
Yeah, years prior. You really need to read my last 2 publishing of things really happening in numbers of 5 to get this one. Darn, we could have read.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Next one.
Yeah. At least the 3 experiences were in order I published them. Thank you for reading this. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll read those ones and the next time we do a spooky story or paranormal experience episode. But
weird that kept happening.
Everything happened in 5.
I know. At the same time too, except for that one night. That's so weird.
Yeah, that's creepy. It's very creepy. Okay, so that's the end of this episode.
Yep.
If you would like to send in your stories, whether it's paranormal or true crime, please send it to dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com or send it to our Reddit page or /dreadfullytwistedpod. You can follow our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok @dreadfullytwistedpodcast. You can also DM us on there if you want to send in your stories as well. Please rate us. Give us a 5-star. 5 stars. And share with your family and friends. It really helps us stay relevant and get the podcast out there. And go follow our social medias. And you can listen on Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora Radio, iHeartRadio, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, and YouTube. So you can listen on there if like your family and friends don't have Spotify or something. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.